We've learned tonight former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is in stable condition after he was stabbed by a fellow inmate Friday night. That's according to the Attorney General's office. Chauvin has been serving his more than 20-year sentence at a federal correctional institute in Tucson, Arizona. Our Renee Cooper sat down with the Minneapolis police chief, who condemns the attack that comes more than 2.5 years after Chauvin's state murder conviction.
Whenever something like this happens, it brings all of that to the surface again.
A somber Minneapolis Police Chief Brian O'Hara sitting down a day after sources revealed former officer Derek Chauvin was stabbed while serving his sentence for the murder of George Floyd.
We're thankful that, he's in stable condition.
So you've heard that as well, that he's in stable condition.
That was the last update I received yesterday.
We heard the same thing from Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison's office.
Can you share where the update was from?
From our federal law enforcement partners.
The only information coming directly from the Federal Bureau of Prisons is that an unnamed inmate was hospitalized after an assault at the Arizona facility on Friday. The agency refused to give an update on Saturday for, quote, privacy and safety reasons. The attack coming just days after the U.S. Supreme Court rejected Chauvin's appeal of his state murder conviction.
Anyone who's assaulted like this, regardless of what they've been accused of, deserve to be safe, and that's certainly not cause for any celebration.
The chief's sentiment is shared by two prosecutors in the state's case against Chauvin, including the state attorney general. In a statement on Saturday, Ellison said, quote, I am sad to hear that Derek Chauvin was the target of violence. He was duly convicted of his crimes, and like any incarcerated individual, he should be able to serve his sentence without fear of retaliation or violence. Independent prosecutor Steve Schlischer, who was on Ellison's team, said he agrees, adding, quote, this matter should be investigated and anyone responsible should be held accountable and face consequences for their conduct. In his own statements late Friday, O'Hara called the incident, quote, cause for quiet reflection.
What did you mean by that?
It's very difficult here, both for people who live here and the police officers, to kind of reckon with everything that has happened. I think some folks have a desire for us to all just move on. And that's just not possible. It's not possible right now.
Chauvin's lawyer, Eric Nelson, declined to comment. We also reached out to the Minneapolis Police Officers Federation and have not heard back. In the newsroom, Renee Cooper, 5 Eyewitness News.
Former Minneapolis police officer Derek Chauvin is expected to live after being stabbed in prison. Attorney General Keith Ellison and the Minneapolis Police Department both confirmed Chauvin is now in stable condition. But the Federal Bureau of Prisons has been tight-lipped, refusing to provide details about what happened, including to Chauvin's own attorney. Our Renee Cooper pressed them for more details today.
Derek Chauvin's attorney, Greg Erickson, tells me he and Chauvin's family have been given zero information from federal officials about the assault. He says between his office and the family, they've tried reaching out about 15 times. And he's not the only lawyer calling the incident and how it's been handled a, quote, complete failure.
Look, this is a failure.
With details from federal officials still sparse on Sunday, we turned to a couple of independent legal experts. Criminal defense attorney Jack Rice.
I want to be clear on this point. The fact that Derek Chauvin was stabbed is a failure of the system.
And former Hennepin County District Court Judge Kevin Burke.
I think the bottom line is this: prisons cannot be allowed to be dangerous places where people are either seriously injured or murdered. And it would appear that at least the federal system has severe shortages of guards to keep it a safe place.
Derek Chauvin was moved to the medium security Arizona Federal Prison mid-2022 after spending the first fraction of his 2-decade sentence mainly in solitary confinement at Minnesota's Oak Park Heights maximum security prison.
It should have been safer. It wasn't.
Chauvin's attorney, Greg Erickson, tells us he has not been in the prison's general population. Beyond that, Erickson says he's been stonewalled, unable to get answers about where the assault happened or even whether Chauvin is still in the hospital or not. He also says the prison has family listed as emergency contacts and they haven't heard a peep, something Erickson calls, quote, fatally flawed. The Associated Press reports the Arizona federal prison has been plagued by security lapses and staffing shortages. The assault that left Chauvin seriously hurt is reportedly the second major incident in a little over a year.
Well, we can also look back just 5 months ago with Nasser down in Florida.
The disgraced former sports doctor Larry Nasser also survived being stabbed, another high-profile inmate at a different federal prison dealing with staffing shortages.
We definitely know there are assaults that happen in state and federal prisons with a degree of frequency that's really not tolerable.
And so the fact that it happened to Derek Chauvin himself, again, doesn't deny the problem that we face here, because when people are convicted of crimes and sent to prison, we have a societal obligation to make sure that they're kept safe.
Again today, the Federal Bureau of Prisons refused to answer our questions or provide a single additional detail. A spokesperson only saying that it, quote, takes seriously our duty to protect the individuals entrusted in our custody, as well as maintain the safety of correctional employees and the community. In the newsroom, Renee Cooper, 5 Eyewitness News.